Triss could not help Geralt, yet she did direct him to Kareem Tilly, an Oniromancer and an expert at finding the lost and the missing. Guided by Kareem Tilly, the Witcher had a dream. In it, Ciri and I, the bard Dandelion, were reunited. Geralt now knew that to find Ciri, he would first need to find his dear old friend.
A wee minute, Witcher. Now, I'm curious something, mighty. How is it you were off the same bloody night Whoreson tried to kill me?
'Twas chance, honest. I was at the brothel. I've witnesses.
I don't doubt you found some witnesses, but I do doubt the bit about chance. Know what? Shite conversation this. So much blethering, we've got nowhere. Lad, you have a chat with him. It's simple. I want to know where Whoreson is.
I've not betrayed you. Not ever. Ah! No! No! I know nothing!
Help me find Junior?
I'm about to send my lads around Whoreson's hideouts. Won't say no to a witch's blade. Lead my men, take the water Junior and drag him out of his hidey hole. Win-win situation as I see it.
Whoreson can't die until I've talked to him.
My lads are hot-headed and I like 'em like that. Want to rein them in? Do so on your own.
All right.
Now, I suspect Junior's hiding at his casino in Gildorf. Either that or near the arena beneath the bits. My lads will be there. Find him.
did you give your food to that monster?
Oh, I'm so annoyed.
Just this morning, my Greta came back from the half melt set with silver stuff.
What?
Listen, it's greetings. You here for a specific reason?
Got a meeting with Rosa, a fencing lesson.
Geralt of Rivia, yes? Miss Rosa stepped out for a walk. Near Temple Bridge, she said. She asked that you join her.
Guess it's gonna be an interesting lesson. Thanks.
Eternal fire. Father of all.
Hey, there are mouse droppings in this bread.
I've had enough of it.
We were sapping mushrooms for you, for helping us. Stand and fight!
You again? Want some more? Bruises on your ass heel already?
On God, I say! Victory will be mine this time. I've practiced with shield and sword. Many a headless scarecrow round...
Duly heated. Now show me what you got. Had enough?
Yes, but next time...
Go back to Maid Bilberry and apologize for being an ass. Quick, before I change my mind and break your bones.
we shall meet again.
Guardian Regiment always accompany you on your walks?
Always. Papa's orders. It's for your protection, Rosa dear. People here hate us. Why? What have I done to them? But enough about that. Soldier, you may leave.
But His Excellency Ambassador Var Atra said that...
And this Excellency is telling you otherwise. Do you not recognize him? This is Geralt of Rivia, the best swordsman the North has ever seen. I'm safe with him. Now march off, quickly. Left, right, left, right. Finally. Let's go, Geralt. I've something I wish to show you.
We were supposed to train, not go for a walk.
I know, Geralt. Now stop harping on about it and let's go.
As I live and breathe.
That reptile gazing is George scary.
Here. You see, I thought that instead of training in a dank old cellar, we'd move around in the open air. A duel on a bridge, like in the novels. Now draw your sword.
Only got my steel and silver swords. We should be fighting with practice weapons.
We should, but you of all people ought to know. There's much more fun in doing things you shouldn't.
Listen, I'd really rather not hurt you.
Stop patronizing me, or you'll be the one to get hurt. Now on guard. Ow! Ow! Stop! I yield!
You alright?
Yes. The only thing you've really hurt is my pride.
By the way, how'd you get interested in fencing?
I was bored. I've no friends here. Papa keeps me on a short lead. It's banquet after banquet after banquet. I detest banquets.
Boring conversations, terrible food, and weak booze.
Exactly. At least with a sword in hand, I can have some fun. You know, blow off steam.
Alright, what's next?
We should return. Just forgive me, Geralt. I know this might sound awkward, but would you mind turning around for a moment? My corset's shifted. It's pinching me terribly.
I can understand a woman wanting to look pretty, but fighting in a corset? It slows you. Rosa? Shit, she ran off. Anything happens to her, Varatra will kill me. Need to find her. Can't be far.
Look awfully suspicious to me, tramp.
Far from home, aren't you, sweetie? And there's no telling if you'll ever get back.
She's Ambassador Varatra's daughter. She's got diplomatic immunity.
I don't really understand the shite you're saying. Now it's clear you love your black ones.
It's no surprise, Lucas. Witches are drawn to monsters, just the way things are. But this beastie, we will say we were ourselves.
I believe you've offended the young lady. Now apologize, as nicely as you can.
Forgive me, milady. I am sorry.
Your turn. Be nice like your friend. Bow low, and go be a patriot somewhere else.
Lucas and Kobe. I shall remember those names. And when the Emperor takes Novigrad, I will find them and have them pay.
Easy. Didn't hurt you in the end.
They raised their hand against me. That's enough to have that hand lopped off.
Lesson's over. Remember what you've learned today. Looks like you'll be using that sword often.
It's beyond me, Geralt. I don't understand you. Why concern yourself with the fate of two drunkards? The world would be a better place without...
You should go home now. And take the shortest, not the scenic route.
I understand. Farewell, Geralt, and good luck on the path.
Dragged the body downstairs, but it wasn't their kill. Skin's unnaturally pale, cracked. Deep, uneven tracks. Someone fled blindly, in a panic. cringing, on the other hand, is fresh, unnatural. Medallion vibrates near it. Whatever he saw just before he died gave him quite a scare. Pale skin, but no blood loss. This is no vampire. Body's dried to a crisp. Signs of burns. Noonwraith did this. All signs point to a Noonwraith. She's avoiding me. Gotta find something that belonged to her. She'll have to show then.
Greetings, Witcher.
Hear about the White Lady.
As I hoped. I notice it's been hanging so long, sun's near bleached it blank.
Seems your White Lady's a Noonwraith.
That means... Gods, poor Lucy.
Lucy. She was gonna marry, right?
Yeah. Her parents swore her to a smith from the city. Well-to-do, sure, but older and more brittle than elven ruins. Lucy ran from the altar out into the fields, where she slashed her veins. Used the silver dagger she'd gotten for the betrothal. Wait, let me show you. Lucy's parents couldn't bear to sell it, bury it even. They left it in my care.
I want to send her away, but I've got to bring her close, lure her first. I need an object to belong to her. Dagger would be perfect.
Take it, but kill Lucy. Promise me. She shouldn't suffer no more.
Never come out after dusk. Let's dance.
Greetings, Witcher.
Problem solved. You can go back to your fields.
Thank you. Your coin. And may fortune smile upon you.
Half the price? Are you daft? She's the slightest of them all.
Duty calls. Ah!
Kisswicks.
Don't like folk wandering around here.
Oh yeah? Well, got a beast you need someone to get rid of? I'm here about the notice.
Supervisor Lund posted it. Yeah, a beast haunts the outskirts, murdering folk. Got them scared to leave their homes after dusk.
I aim to hunt down this monster.
Best hurry then, some other bloke's already after it.
Who took the contract?
Didn't see the man. Was just told some brave fool turned up.
Any eyewitnesses to these attacks?
No, just the bodies. Beast appears only at night. Chooses isolated victims.
When do you find the last victim?
Just last night. Hubert, a beggar, but a decent man. I'd let him sleep in the shed from time to time. That one on the right. Eustace hasn't come for the corpse yet. It's lying in there where I found it.
Thanks. So long.
Always end with a dog's trick.
Not the marks of a Garcane or a Fletter. Blood, but not human. Monster was wounded. Blood's all sucked out. A lesser vampire.
You in a hurry?
Oh! Ooh!
Eternal fire, why me?
Tracks end here. Ought to look for prints on the other side. Rat corpses. Not a drop of blood left in him. Gotta be an Ekimara. Greetings, Lambert.
Damn, it's good to see you, Wolf.
Decide to do some hunting in Novigrad? Far as I remember, you never liked this city.
Still don't. Thing is, I got a certain matter to take care of.
What have you been up to? Any luck on the path?
A lot, in fact. Quite the takings in Lan Exeter. Was asked to hunt down a giant who turned out to be a forest troll, and some bandits.
Bandits?
Came as a package with the troll.
The matter you mentioned. Anything I can help with?
Maybe. But we'll talk about that later. Got our reward to collect. I'm kinda in a hurry. Let's say you've earned half. What the hell?
Join you for that later. Wait up for me?
Fine, but try not to take too long. Know where the supervisor has his office?
Yeah, had a chat with the guardsman outside it. See you there.
bloody bum!
I thought you all just get off my back.
Let's collect our reward.
So?
What do you think? We did what we had to do. Time to pay up.
Wait here, I'll go see the supervisor, get your reward.
Do that ourselves. No reason you should abandon your post.
Can't argue with reason. Go on in.
We dealt with the monster at the docks. Here for our reward.
Witches? Since when do you travel in pairs?
A lot of dangers lie in wait for a lone witcher. Bandits, for example.
I advise you to change your tone.
Where's Yad Karadin? Talk.
Who?
Trust me, Geralt, this is important. There's something I gotta know.
I do not know any Karadin. Take your coin for the before and bugger off, before I lose my temper.
Where's Yad Karadin? Asking you for the last time.
Guards! To the dungeon with them!
This guy's more trouble than the Ekimara.
Karadin's disappeared. I swear. The others too. I only know of Vienne.
What about Vienne?
She drinks at the Seven Cats. There day and night.
See? You can be helpful.
You crazy? What the hell are you doing?
I can explain everything. More guardsmen will show soon. Let's go. Meet me at the Seven Cats. Tell you everything there.
The Tavern Vienne frequents?
Yeah, see you later.
Move on.
River tosses summon ashore each day. Refugees escaping.
Wanted. Cradle, used but unworn. Need a bow to accompany me to a friend's wedding. Willing to trade a leaky pot for a cart? Who writes these notices? Need a witcher?
Any bloke willing to kill a monster, a witcher would do.
Monster? What kind?
Big, bad, ugly, squatch in the sewers. If you're interested, drop by the Garren estate. Ask for Olgierd von Everek. He's the one ordered this posted. Ah, shoot!
I can do it really loud and get it. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Dearly beloved.
The gift of friendship.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, you wouldn't. Come on.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Relax.
Is an option. These guys are pushing and there's something contesting, so you might as well stay here though. Keep in mind, these guys can shoot you. You can get shot from here. I often sit where these guys are right now and I just shell battleships to try to hide here. So you're actually ignoring the fact that the Kurfürst, if he knew what he was doing, he could be blapping you extremely hard. Same with the North Carolina. Both of them could be blapping you right now. You're in fact giving them perfect broadside. So I don't like your position. I don't like your position because of that. You should be turning away. Ideally, I would have wanted to see you turn away like this and then start shooting. Because then you would be angled against these and you would be angled against these. But right now, this is a horrible position. This is such a terrible position. If the Kurfürst understands to start punishing you, I don't know if you're running priority target. You are. Is that the Izuma aiming at you? They're still not shooting you for some reason. Probably because the Kutuzov is maybe a juicier target. But if they knew what they were doing, you would be punished. You would already be like half health, getting absolutely wrecked. But for some reason you're getting away with it. Izuma is a great target to choose, mostly because he has almost no armor, so your HE does massive damage to him. And of course he's kind of stationary, he's a large ship in general, so it's a juicy target to get rid of. He's also a pretty big damage threat, so in that sense a good target. But this position, I hated it. This position I hated simply because you open up this angle, and if these guys hadn't just kept sailing like idiots, but instead would have just parked here and started farming you, you would be in huge trouble. Is it possible to get Citadel on enemy on every shell you shot? Sure, if you get perfect RNG, and I mean, if you can take 12 shells, or well, how many guns you have. Watching that dispersion is tilting me. I mean, it's Royal Navy dispersion, especially in the Monarch. Very questionable. The Izuma is in huge trouble though, and he's just being farmed to death. He does damage con, which makes him a juicy target to keep firing on. I still don't like this positioning. There's still the Kurfürst we haven't seen, there's still the NC we haven't seen. If they knew what they were doing, you would still be like you have been giving broadside to 2 battleships the entire game, and there's no way I can like not comment on that. That is a huge issue. That is a huge positional issue. Izuma's gonna hit a torp. He has damage con. He ate a torp. It was on the nose. He's flooding. He's already pretty much dead. You gotta fire. You shouldn't bother with him anymore. He's already dead. You should look for other targets. It doesn't look like there are any others though, so might as well shoot him for now. Yeah, don't waste volleys. Do not waste any more volleys. He's already dead. This is just like your shells won't even reach him. Yeah, that was a bit of a waste. You probably should start focusing on Kurfürst, the biggest threat they have right now. You have a spotter plane. You don't need to use the map trick. There's no reason for you not to pop the spotter plane right now. Core Force is the biggest threat. Core Force is absolutely the biggest threat. You have a spotter plane. I don't know why you didn't use it and start farming the Core Force. He's pretty much stationary, and he's a huge, easy target. And he's a significantly bigger damage threat than the NC is. Spotter plane? Spotter plane? Core Force? This guy can get into cover. I don't know why you didn't shoot Core Force. Core Force is trying to reverse into cover. He's like a juicy target. If he gets set on fire, he's in huge trouble. Spotter plane? Spotter plane. Spotter plane? Oh my god, you're actually triggering me. Did you forget you have the spotter plane? You can use it for the other things besides shooting smokes. You can use it to shoot people behind cover. Okay, that's important information. Those torps tell us that there's a DD sitting right here. You now know there's a DD sitting right here. You didn't get spotted, which means he's hiding inside the cap. That's something you need to keep in mind. How many torps? It was 4 plus 4. I mean, I guess it could be the Ognavoy, because the Loyang and Gearing were spotted down here. So you can assume the Ognavoy is sailing around in B. That means you have a long time before the next volley of torps. Who has spotter plane? Indeed. I'm not sure how I feel about you pushing with the rest of your team. I'd kinda love to see you take a more central position, simply because you could exert more angles on these guys. Ideally you should be shooting the Conqueror right now. Okay, Gearing is helping you. There's the Ognavoy as we expected. He went sailed around like this and popped up. That's good. Pop spotter plane to get an idea of where he's stopping. It's a good idea when you see a DD smoking up like this. You pop spotter plane and then you put your crosshair on where he's stopping. So even when he's smoked up, you still have a pretty good idea of where he is, because your crosshair is resting right on top of him, and you can get huge damage. The fact that you weren't zoomed in and didn't have spotter plane up means that you can't follow up with damage now, because it's going to be so inaccurate. So a lot of opportunities to deal a lot of additional damage with a consumable that you're missing out on. Basically a lot of missed opportunities. I don't like this push either. I really don't like the fact that the path you're taking right now. Because if these guys wake up and realize that they can push around this flank, you are in huge trouble. Also, getting a spotter plane into the air just to see where the torps are coming from. There was a DD down here. The Yuguma torped earlier here. So you know there's a Yuguma somewhere around here, plus the Ognavoy over here. There's potential from 2 different angles of torpedoes, and you still don't have a spotter plane up to help you see where they're coming from. Could have waited a second longer, but he's dead. Ognavoy is rushing. You should turn left so you can shoot him before he gets into cover. If you turn left a bit more, you'll get your guns on him faster. Because now there's a risk that he'll get undetected before your guns are turned. Which would be unfortunate, because you could speed this up greatly by turning sharply left. Oh, you're wasting too much time. Keep turning your guns. If you want to look around, right click. Because you're wasting so much time on your turrets to turn. He shot you? What the hell is this idiot doing? Well, that's very fortunate for you that he's dumb enough to do that. If he keeps giving broadside, you might want to consider using HE. Because if against broadside DDs, HE does significantly more. Because he's an idiot. Turn in, turn in, turn in. You don't want to eat all this damage. Okay, a bit late on the turn there. Unnecessary damage being eaten. This is one of those games where there's been like 15 opportunities to make use of the spotter plane, and you haven't used it for a single one. Oh, this is a risky turn. I should be fine.
Problem solved, sir. Torpedoes to port.
It's important to note if you get undetected once your firing debuff has disappeared. Will you get undetected? Your plane spotted. So that's a hidden, probably NC or hidden plane. Why didn't you play for destroyers, torqued main ships? What? Why didn't you play for destroyers, torqued main ships? I don't know what you just asked me, Viadra. I have no idea what you just asked me. I wish you'd pop the spotter plane, so we would get an idea of where the torps might be coming from. The Yugoma is still alive. Did you damage con a single fire or double fire? Because I just noticed your damage con were on cooldown for a double fire, and I didn't notice you getting double fire before this. If you damage con a single fire, then I'm mad. That's a very common mistake. Not something you should be doing. There are times when repairing a single fire is acceptable. An example being when you know that you're gonna get undetected if you repair it, so you use it to reduce your spotting range. That's a good time to damage con a single fire. But when you're spotting that, when you're shooting back and you're being farmed, yeah. Let's see, what do we have here? Tier 6 matchmaking. Once again, the issue with playing... Oh, Tier 8 matchmaking. Once again, the issue with playing Tier 6 is, of course, the bullshit matchmaking, which is always against you. DD-wise, not too bad. It's a standard battle. The battleships... it's not really that bad. I consider one of the biggest threats at Tier 8 when I'm playing Cruiser, I consider the Amagi. Because it's got great accuracy, 10 guns, and really fast shells. Whereas ships like, for example, Tirpitz, they have fast shells, but only 8 guns and bad dispersion. And North Carolina, while it has great dispersion and insane pen, the shells are very slow. So if you maintain your distance, you can kind of play around them. Whereas playing around an Amagi can be extremely challenging. If he knows what he's doing, of course. Galisonier, you are running premium consumables, good stuff. You are running... Concealment Expert, I think, yes, 11.4, that should be Concealment Expert. Are you running any flags? Looks like the basic XP plus credit flags. And a speed flag in there. That's perfectly fine.
You're not known to be a humble man, but I wonder...
I think I am actually humble. I think I'm much more...
Deathbringer, thank you for the 8 months, much appreciated. DD, cruiser-wise...
Can't wait for that camp stream, smile.
Thank you, Deathbringer, for the 8 months. Cruiser-wise, Shores is actually your biggest threat. Now, the reason why the Shores is your biggest threat is that New Orleans, I mean, he can be annoying, sure, but you can kite and maintain your distance. The problem is Shores is also a long-range HE spammer. The difference is the Shores is a lot more DPM than you do. So if he starts farming you from range, and you try to farm him back, he's gonna win it simply because he has significantly more DPM. Speed boost, speed boost, speed boost. As soon as you engage in combat, you want to pop your speed boost because it gives you better maneuverability. It makes you faster, harder to hit. It makes you slow down and accelerate faster. It's kind of like a defensive consumable. Also, holy shit, the broadside you're giving. Are you serious? That is so risky against German battleships and Royal Navy because their dispersion is shit. Their dispersion is so bad that there's a high chance when you give this much broadside that you'll get punished. Also, there's 3 battleships there. This is way too risky. You might turn into dodge 1 volley and get citadel by another volley. You do not want to be playing chicken with 3 battleships at a time. You cannot win that kind of fight. Like, you're still only gonna be dealing damage to one, and you constantly risk being instantly killed. Do not do what you just did there. That is way too risky. You got away with it, but that is insanely dangerous. Like, the only thing keeping you alive there is RNG. And if you start relying on RNG to keep you alive, well, then you should probably give Wargaming more money before you do it. Because it's not very recommended. You could slow down right now. You got a smoke covering you from these guys. You should absolutely slow down. Make use of the enemy smoke. No need to give them broadside. Okay, you're missing out here. See, there was a great opportunity there, and you could still be shooting this guy as well, the guy who you set on fire. I don't know why you're so eager to try to shoot this guy. Can you stop? Jesus. Big opportunity to just deal damage for free behind the smoke. You just triggered the shit out of my chat with that. I don't know what the fuck you were just doing. Chat just tilted the shit out of chat. Wow, you have some excellent fire RNG in this game. Holy shit. Good, you're using the island. I like this. This is good. The fact that you're using your island for cover. The Bliss guy shooting from the smoke, which tells you that you can pretty much maneuver in the open as much as you want. Turpits still on fire. Obviously the juicy main target. You are... Oh, you're spotted. Because you glided too far around the island. Stop shooting, stop shooting, stop shooting. No, you don't... See, you should stop shooting and get undetected before turning. Oh, you're spotted and turning. Oh, you're so lucky that King George is an idiot. If that King George knew what he was doing, as you started a turn, he would have citadeled and devastated you. That was insanely lucky. Do not do that. If you pop out around the corner and you realize there's a battleship there waiting for you and another one is gonna aim for you as well, just stay angled and wait for your concealment to kick in. And then when your concealment has kicked in, you turn away and get undetected. But just continually firing and giving broadside, like, there's two situations this game where you should already be dead. Both of them have, like, the initial fight against 3 battleships and that turn, both of them have been hugely sketchy. Both of them have been hugely sketchy. In between volleys, you don't have to look at your shells landing. In between volleys like this, I recommend taking a look at what the rest of these ships are doing. Are they aiming at you? Do you know what this Turpitz is aiming at? No, because you're tunnel visioning on this guy. The Turpitz could be turning his guns on you. At 13 kilometers, he could devastate you. So, a lot of tunnel vision going on here. You're staring at your shells flying through the air, and we're talking a long-ass reload. Like, look at this reload. How long is this reload? 9 seconds. That's 9 seconds you're spending staring at your shells flying through the sky instead of quickly checking what the hell these guys are doing, where they're aiming. So, less tunnel vision on the shells. You can, once you've shot, you can look around and then you can zoom back in and see where your shells are landing to get an idea of how you need to adjust your aim. There's no reason to stare at them through the entire flight time. The Bliska for some reason has not been spotting at all, which is of course really good for you, because this position would be a lot weaker if you were actively spotting. I like the fact that you're using terrain. I like the fact that you're constantly using terrain for cover and just dealing damage without being spotted. That's how you're supposed to play. If you're playing HE spammer, if you're up tiered, all these nasty situations, this is absolutely how you should play. Pop your speed boost, you're spotted. Pop your speed boost, get that acceleration, get that maneuverability. High chance the battleships here might shoot at you. Pop your speed boost. What is this Turpitz aiming at? You don't know, because you're still tunnel visioning. What is he? Has he turned his guns? Is he about to blap you? You're finally turning it to see. Oh shit, his guns are aimed your way. Where's your speed boost? Where's your dodge? For some reason he's an absolute idiot and he aimed at the Turpitz. Oh wow. 3 times this game. 3 times this game already where you should be dead. Okay. 3 times that you have played with fire. I hate all those situations. They are lucky. All those situations are lucky. And you cannot rely on luck. Because if you end up facing a battleship who knows what it's doing in those situations, you're gonna get blapped. So very, very risky. Also, torpedoes. Aren't these torps? What are they? What are the range of these torps? 9 kilometers. So, perfect opportunity to drop some torps on these guys. Should be shooting the Bliska. The Tirpitz is gonna die regardless. But the Bliska is not gonna be spotted constantly, so the opportunity to deal damage to the Bliska is much more valuable. Like, the Tirpitz is dead, everyone's shooting him, it doesn't matter. The Bliska should be the target. Also, speed boost, speed boost, speed boost. Speed boost, speed boost, speed boost. This is a lot of time you're unable to deal damage. This is an opportunity to use speed boost to reduce this time. When you play a long range HE spammer, you want to maximize the time during which you can shoot your guns. You want to maximize your opportunities to just deal damage, because that's kind of what you're here to do. That's what you do in a long range HE spamming cruiser. So using speed boost to minimize the downtime is very valuable. Yeah, absolutely should have been shooting the Bliska earlier. The additional damage might have helped in forcing him to smoke, might have saved your Shiratsuyu, we don't know. But whenever there's an opportunity to deal damage with pressure on enemy deities, you should take it. Speed boost. Defend your cap. Absolutely should be popping speed boost once again. We got downtime. And what do we know about downtime? We don't want it. We don't want to have to deal with downtime, so we pop speed boost to minimize downtime. A lot of wasted some consumable timing here. Probably doesn't have superintendent, it doesn't matter. As long as you're alive, you should be using your consumables. It's a common mistake, I feel, people trying to save their consumables. They try to save and save and save, and no, I don't want to use it yet. I have to wait for the absolute opportune moment to use them. And the problem is, they tend to die with their consumables still saved up. Rather waste your consumables too early than die with having them still in your inventory or whatever you call it. The Shinonome is going to contest your cap. Your best win condition was, I think, charging the enemy cap. Either you needed to commit to defend, to keep them out of your cap, or you needed to rush the enemy cap. In rushing the enemy cap, if you could get rid of the Bliska, you guys should be able to overwhelm them, and you could maybe get the cap. But you chose to go to defend, but then you made the weird donut thing, and at this point it's impossible to win this anymore. Unless you're... nah. The Bliska would need to make such a massive mistake for you to win it anymore. Killing the Bliska was a good opportunity, but right now you have the issue that the Shores is in the cap. More importantly, the enemy DD is no doubt entering the cap as well. Speed boost Flammo. Spot replaying Flammo. New emote ideas. You finally popped the speed boost, that's good. Shores is giving you a nice broadside. Between shells like this, use your torps. Switch to torp view and see what he's doing. Is he gonna accelerate? Is he slowing down entirely? Use your torpedoes to get an idea. Use the range, the preemptive indicator to get an idea of what the enemy is doing. And you haven't been using it at all. And those were plenty of opportunities to do it. He does not have IFHE. He said that in a comment earlier. And that's perfectly fine. You can't expect someone who's tier 6 to have IFHE. It's nice to have IFHE, it's great to have it, but if you're leveling a new captain or whatever, it's not something you can expect. Oh, scary, turning broadside as the shells are in the air. Ooh, that was sketchy. If you see the battleship shells coming your way, try to maintain your angle and minimize the risk of Citadel. Turning broadside as you see them coming your way to get some more shells in, that is risky as shit. That is incredibly risky. See, you're trying to prevent the cap, but the problem is, this guy here, he's 1 versus 3. He's dead. So there's really... and he goes down as expected. Oh, Shinonome showed himself. Shoot the Shinonome, shoot the Shinonome. Turn his guns for him. And turn to dodge. Unfortunate fire there. But honestly, smoked up shores. He's just gonna be spamming HE. You're gonna die very quickly. I can't say you, like, they were mistakes, but generally, considering you're tier 6 in tier 8, in a tier 8 game, getting like almost 100k damage isn't bad. I wouldn't say like the reason your team lost is by any means your fault. That's mostly the team was quite useless. But there were so many incredibly risky turns this game. So many incredibly risky situations where had you been just a bit less fortunate, those situations would have gotten you killed. So more awareness, more map awareness, more positional awareness, more focus on what exactly enemy battleships are shooting at. What are they focusing? Because if they'd been more aware of what you were doing, you would have gotten absolutely screwed. So things to keep in mind. Things to keep in mind. Map awareness is the hardest thing to learn, though. Map awareness and situational awareness are the the hardest things to learn. And the best way to do it is critical replay analysis. Even watching your own replays and saying, oh shit, I completely missed that. Right. We've been doing boats for about 3 hours now. What?
Hello everyone. Today I will be featuring the Asashio, the upcoming tier 8 IGN Destroyer Premium. Now the matchmaking is pretty terrible for me in the sense that they got a carrier, which is of course never good. It's tier 10, they got a Chopper for radar, and they got double Changmus, and Changmu is basically a Fletcher. Well, when it comes to fighting me, it's basically a Fletcher. It of course has deep water torps, but other than that, it's brutal. Now, these torps might look strange to you, like what the hell is he aiming at? But you gotta look at the minimap. Do you see right there in the enemy spawn that Yamato, and now additional battleships were rendered in? They are actually outside of my render range. Now, normally my torps would be 20 kilometers. But because, well, your render range is actually only about 16 kilometers, I'm running torpedo acceleration, which boosts my torpedo speed by 5 knots, but in return it costs me 20% range. But considering I can't really see that far anyway, I figured it was actually a pretty good trade-off. So I got 16 kilometer torps that do 72 knots instead, which is of course absurdly fast and absurdly long range. Like those guys just rendered for me long enough to get some sort of white line prediction going on for my torps, and I basically just lobbed both my torps there. And as you saw, I also used torpedo acceleration, something I will get to later. The Asashio is it's basically a Kagero. Well, it was basically a Kagero. It was almost identical to the Kagero in pretty much every possible way. That's why I never really bothered making a commentary on the ship before this, because those that watched the stream knew what I thought about it. It was very uninteresting, very uninspiring. It had a worse reload than the Kagero. It has the pre-buff Kagero reload, which means it has a 9-second reload on the guns. The turret traverse, as you can see, is extremely sluggish as well. But they made a pretty significant change by adding these absolutely brain-dead stupid torpedoes to the ship. Something I will get to in a bit. Let's see actually my torps. I launched them, what, about a minute ago? They are now in the enemy spawn. I'm in my spawn, those battleships are in the enemy spawn, and now the hits start coming in. Ding 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 ding, like getting a jackpot on at the casino. 94,000 damage. That was to the 2 Yamatos, I assume, mostly. So I pretty much wrecked both the Yamatos right now. If it would have hit one guy, I think he would have probably died. I think I hit both the Yamatos back there. And now, if you think this is like, wow, he did 100k damage with his first volley, that's ridiculous. This is probably a once in 100 kind of occasion. No, this is the 3rd time it's already happened for me, and I haven't really played this ship that much, but this is the 3rd time I managed to score 100k damage in the opening volley. Those that watch my stream have seen it 2 additional times. I've done it against tier 8 and I've done it against tier 10, and that's because the range on these torps is so absurd, and no one expects to be torped so far back in their spawn, which is understandable. Why would you? But This is the new test ship with this absurdly long-range torpedoes, and well, you can see how fast they are. That Tactago is probably just seeing them right now, and the reason for this is these are deep water torps. Which means the concealment on these torps is 0.7 kilometers, 700 meters of spotting. That means unless you're running Hydro, you have pretty much no chance of dodging this. It's pretty much zero chance of dodging this, and that is why I hate them. That is why I absolutely hate them and think they're the most stupid thing ever. Wargaming is going out of the way to attempt to balance them by making it so, as you can notice whenever I hover my mouse or whenever I target cruisers, it says cannot hit this target. And that's because unlike normal deep water torps that are hard-coded to not hit DDs, but can still hit everything else, these torps are hard-coded to only hit battleships and carriers. You cannot hit cruisers and you cannot hit DDs. Now, this does have of course, the effect of toning them down significantly, because if these things could hit cruisers, they would be even more brokenly overpowered. But it's still really, really stupid, because it brings us down to the point that playing a battleship against the Asashio is not fun. It's really, really not fun at all. It's horribly frustrating. I've been testing my gas can, whatever, let's just call it the gas can. I've been testing it, and I've run into Asashios being tested by other people, and it's so horribly unfun, because you have really no counterplay. That's what it comes down to. You have pretty much zero counterplay in dealing with the enemy Asashio. The concealment is of course Kagero concealment, which means if you're anyone who's smart enough to actually run concealment build like I'm running on this, will have a 5.4 kilometer concealment. That is some of the stealthiest you can reach on any destroyer. At high tier, it is the stealthiest you can reach. And no one will be able to outspot you, and the only real risk is like radars or something similar. And you can see, even though I launched nose-in torpedoes, those are torpedoes that have the lowest chance of scoring any hits. Because I have torpedo reload and smoke, I was able to launch 16 torpedoes that way, and I scored 4 torpedo hits right on the noses of them. And they, even though they were pointed nose towards me, which generally if you point nose towards the DD, like if you know where the enemy DD is and you point nose towards him, I think that you should have a fairly good chance of dodging the torps, because that forces the DD to get better positions. You can't just launch torps against the nose in constantly and just constantly get lucky. You need really good RNG to get those hits, because usually the battleship does have some time to react. The problem with these torps is there's no time to react, and you can launch them across the map. And it makes for this horribly unfun combination of playing against this ship where you are really powerless to do anything, because it doesn't matter if you point nose in. I mean, you will take less damage, of course, but if you get unfortunate and a torp comes right at your nose, you have no counterplay. And that's really what it comes down to. There is no counterplay, and I hate ships that you have no counterplay against. That's one of the original reasons why I hated the Belfast, and I still hate the Belfast. If you're playing a destroyer against the Belfast, you have no counterplay, because if you spot him, you're inside his radar range, and he can smoke up and he can just kill you. And if you try to torp him, he's got hydro to dodge your torps. So as a DD, you're completely powerless against him. You have zero counterplay against him, and I hate ships that do that. And the Asashio is an example of a ship that has zero counterplay from a battleship. The only thing you can hope for is that your DDs will bum rush him and hunt him down, but because the torp range is 20, or with torpedo acceleration 16, it doesn't matter. Like, look, if this were any normal torps, he would slow down and dodge them. But because there's a deep water, he gets no warning, and it literally pops up in his face, and he hits a torpedo. And that's because of the incredible concealment on the torpedoes. And the lack of counterplay is really the issue, because if you play battleship into an Asashio, you rely on, hopefully your DD is hunting him down. But with 5.4 km concealment, it's incredibly difficult, because he will outspot all enemy DDs, and I can just sit at such a far back range and launch these torps very, very safely, which of course the enemy cannot. And same thing with the cruisers. They can push in a radar, sure, but they have to push in so incredibly deep to get anything done, and even then I'm just going to be playing at these really long ranges and going to be very, very safe. And you know, if this ship is released in its current state, if the ship is released in this current state on the live servers, you know there's going to be people running triple divisions of Asashio. Can you imagine just how horribly unfun that will be for every battleship on the enemy team. It will be a nightmare. It will be such a frustrating experience. And the thing is, no one will really enjoy playing against this because the extreme range allows you to play from complete safety, so the DDs can't really help in fighting it. The cruisers will struggle to make their radar actually useful. It's like this Asashio has the potential of being the most unfun addition to the game since they added the Conqueror. And the Conqueror is one of those ships that the main reason why I hate the Conqueror is not because I consider it overpowered. The main reason I hate the Conqueror is because it is the most unrewarding ship to fight against. It is the most frustrating and unfun ship to fight against. If you fight against the Conqueror, you angle, he still hits you with HE for massive damage. If he gives you full broadside, you shoot him, but you can't get citadels because his citadel is underwater. And he can disengage at any point because his concealment is so god tier. And he can heal up almost all the damage he takes as well. It's this horribly unfun opponent to fight. And that is another example. This is the kind of the same thing. I'm telling my Yugobo to turn off his AA, but it's probably too late at this point. The planes spotted the Yugomon, so the code force will most likely slow down and dodge this torp, so I have no chance of hitting him, which is why I'm just smoking up to see if I can get some damage on Changmu instead. But this is kind of going to be, it feels like another potential Conqueror in that sense. It's going to be a ship that will not be in any way fun to play against. And the Asashio itself, I mean, this ship is hilarious. It's really fun to play, as long as the matchmaking favors you. As long as you have matchmaking on your side, like this game, I end up against the triple tier 10 battleship division, which is of course one of those divisions that are just doomed to fail because they're horribly, they have no synergy whatsoever, and it's a terrible division. And that's the kind of division, if you end up against it, well, that's really good for you. Even if I'm up against tier 10, these torpedoes are so absurd. 20-kilometer range, 67 knots of speed, 20.9k damage. That's 21k damage per torpedo. You can slot both torpedo reload and smoke, so you actually don't trade anything for using torpedo reload. It's just there as an additional bonus, which means you can launch out volleys that are larger than Shimakaze's volleys, and do just as much damage, except have better range and better concealment. It's disgusting. You have at your fingertips every time your cooldown is available, you have more torpedo power, significantly more because of the concealment, like multiple iterations of power more than the Shimakaze has, and you have it at tier 8. And you also have better concealment than the Shima. So this ship is just and of course you can torp from the backlines behind your friendly DDs without any issues because they are hard-coded to only hit battleships. This is going to be such a horribly unfun ship to play against because it's so hard to deal with it. And you know, because of the torpedo range, you're going to have a bunch of people who are going to buy the ship, and they're never going to contest caps. They're never going to fight enemy DDs, like I shot down the Kagera. They're never going to do that. They're just going to sit at that 20-kilometer range, and they're just going to sit back there, and they're going to spam torps for 20 minutes. And everyone is going to hate it. The teammates are going to hate it because they won't get any scouting, they won't get any help, and the enemy is going to hate it because it doesn't matter how they angle, how they're positioned, because of the incredible range on the torps, there's a high chance of those torps just popping out of nowhere and killing you. You have no way of, the only way you can deal with it is aggressive scouting by your teammates, which is of course something you cannot rely on in random battles at all. So the fundamental issue with this ship is it's going to be horrible for everyone. Except for the one guy, and that's the guy playing it. The guy playing the ship, in this case, if he ends up against multiple battleship, well, he's gonna have the time of his life. I mean, I've already broken 200k, and you might go, wow, Flammo, this is such an exceptional game, 200k damage. But it really isn't. I think this is the third time already I've broken 200k in this ship, and all you need is somewhat decent matchmaking, and you get this absurd damage in it. And in fact, I have a Twitch clip. I think it was my first game in the Asashio. I think it was my very first game in the Asashio. I'm not using torpedo acceleration there, but I'm using just the default IGN DD build. In fact, this build that I'm using these days, I don't even have survivability expert. I'm just full torpedo acceleration, torpedo reload, RPF concealment, like the very base, pure torpedo damage kind of build. But my very first game, I'm just running my normal Shima build, and I get something like 220 something k damage, and I get 7 kills. Okay, 7 kills. it's stupid. I can give you, I can put it in the comments below so you get an example. That was against tier 8 matchmaking, and that game of course also started with 100k damage across the map. It's stupid, absolutely absurd. I can link it in the comments below if you guys want to watch it. I won't bother uploading it on YouTube, but you can watch it on Twitch, and you can of course see chat being less than impressed with the balance that this ship offers. Is the ship purely overpowered? No. If matchmaking hates you, it does happen sometimes. Okay, it's very rare because of how incredibly popular battleships are, but there are times when matchmaking will throw you against less battleships. Those occasions happen. You end up against a lot of DDs, a lot of cruisers. It's pretty rare because of how insanely popular battleships are. You pretty much always get 5 against you, but it does happen at times, and those games tend to be unfun for you because you can't really do too much. You can't, if cruiser keeps pushing you can't really torp him. DDs keep pushing you because you have worse firepower than even a Kagero. You kind of struggle to deal too much damage to the DDs. You can still beat them, of course, but that's mostly because they misplay and well, they start chasing you when you kite away and so forth. But it is kind of a struggle. So it's not really that fun in those situations either. This ship is highly specialized at being anti-battleship, and it's not really that versatile against much else. It's a good scout as well. The problem is there are no incentives to scout, and that's one of the issues which is going to lead to it being so horribly unfun to play. There are no incentives to scout at all because your torpedo range is so incredible, and the game doesn't really show you that it rewards you for scouting, and it doesn't really give you much scouting rewards to begin with, so no one wants to scout. No one actively scouts. So the average player in this ship is going to be sitting at 15 to 20 kilometers, spamming torps every cooldown, contributing nothing to his team, and kind of just farming damage all game. And that's going to be what you will be facing as a battleship, and that's going to be what you're going to have as a teammate. Like, there was a reason Shimakaze used to have 20 kilometer really good torpedoes, and everyone a lot of people used to run those 20 kilometer torps, but they were removed because they made the game so horribly unfun and so horribly stale because everyone was playing Shima, everyone was sitting in the backline spamming torps across the map, and there was really nothing you could do about it, and it was horribly unfun for everyone, except of course the guys who played Shima and thought, oh, this is so much fun. That was the only guys who enjoyed it. And that's exactly what's going to repeat itself with this ship. This is a horrible idea, Wargaming. This is one of the worst ideas you've had, and I say this as someone who called out the Belfast the second it was released as being a horribly unfun decision, someone who called out AP bombs as a horribly unfun decision, called out Deepwater Torps as a horribly unfun decision, called out Conqueror as a horribly unfun decision, and now I'm going to call out Asashio. This is one of those examples where you have the opportunity to not make the game worse by releasing the ship in its current state. And I really hope you don't release the ship in this current state, because this is just another way of making high tier gameplay more passive, more sitting back sniping, and more unfun for pretty much everyone involved. And you think battleships are going to want to push into the enemy when they have an Asashio? No, why would they? Holy shit, they're all gonna sit back even further back, because now they can be hit by across the map undetectable torps that do massive damage. That's not fun to play against. And the cruisers can't help them in any way. Their radar is useless because the radar doesn't even have range to catch this guy sitting at the edge of the map. Please, I know this is a work in progress, Wargaming, but please, please, please do not release this ship in its current state. Please do not do it. Now, in terms of do I recommend this ship for my viewers, well, yeah. If they do release it, of course I'm going to recommend the ship. Note that when I say I'm going to recommend the ship, I'm not recommending it because I think it's good for the game. I'm recommending it because it's stupid. It's absolutely without a doubt overpowered, and it's broken, and it's hilariously fun to play when you're the guy playing it, but it's horribly unfun for every other person on the server. That's the problem, and that's why I hope they don't release it, but if they do, well, of course this ship gets a recommendation. I always recommend stupidly, kind of like the Belfast. I called it stupidly overpowered, but I still recommended it as a ship to buy. And this is kind of the same case. This ship is absolutely absurdly stupid, but it's still a ship I'm going to recommend for you to buy because, well, You just look at it. Look at the. You think this is the first time I've broken 1,000,000 credits in this thing? No. This is once I think third or fourth time I get 1,000,000 credits in this thing. It's stupid because it's so brokenly overpowered. It farms tier 10 so easily. In fact, looking at team score, not really even that much. Only 2.5k XP. The other game I had, I got almost 3,000 base XP. I think I got like 299 something, whatever. It's really stupid. And if we look at detailed report, let me find it. 15 torps hits 184k damage, and you do get, when you face tier 10s especially, you get so many torp hits all the time because you can constantly torp the battleship. The only way the torp battleship has a chance of avoiding your torps is by hiding behind islands, and then they can't shoot themselves. So once again, horribly unfun gameplay for the enemy battleships. And whenever they push out, they run the risk of running into your torpedo walls that they can.
Dangerous being a fisherman these days. Got beasts prowling in the waves, raiders prowling upon it.
Show me what you have in stock. Willing to craft something for me? So long.
Remember, dear believers, your time is judged. Most fully expresses your faith into the eternal fire. Grant our supplications. See the empty ship?
Inside, excuse me, this managing her coin. That's rich. I told her that.
Quite the brew. Halfling wasn't lying. Scent's gotta be carrying quite a ways.
Prices are rising.
God, it's like a racehorse.
Hey, grey hair, got the deal of a lifetime for you. Hey, Witcher, remember me?
How could I forget? The magic goods dealer and surprisingly fast runner.
A hair slower, and they'd have grabbed me. And you're a fine fella for not ratting me out. Prepared to give you a discount for that, mate. So, shall we trade?
Yeah, let's. Hopefully no interruptions this time.
Quite the googly eyes.
I miss a woman's touch.
I tell you.
What's this joint now?
right, high time you explain some things. Why'd you kill Lund? What's this all about?
Want the short version or the long one?
Let me hear the whole thing.
I had a friend. Aiden was his name.
You had a friend?
Oh, you're fucking hilarious. I met him soon after I'd accepted a contract to lift the curse from the ogre of the Lander. Aiden had been hired to kill him. He was a witcher from the School of the Cat.
As far as I remember, the ogre was killed in the end.
Yeah. After it gutted my employer, we really didn't have a choice. I cut a deal with Aiden. We joined forces, split the reward for killing the ogre between us. After that, we worked together a lot. Hands down the best man I'd ever met. I mean, I like you, you know that. Still, no comparison.
What happened to him?
Some time ago, Aiden took on a contract to lift a curse off a duke's daughter. It was a political mess from the start. Then there was hatred for the School of the Cat to deal with.
They worked hard to deserve that hate. Basically turned hired assassins.
Aiden wasn't like that. Anyway, some of the Duke's courtiers had designs. Weren't at all keen on the curse being lifted from the Duke's firstborn. So a band of trained assassins ambushed Aiden. Murdered him. Our dear supervisor was one of them.
And you had Carradine?
The assassin's leader. And the one to deal the mortal blow.
Sorry about your friend.
Don't need your sympathy, just your help. We have to talk to Vienne. Must have had enough to drink by now. Let's go.
Vienne.
What do you want?
We want to see Yad Carradine.
Now, why would I help you?
It's really important to my friend here.
And what will I get out of it?
Pay for your beer, for starters. Then we'll see how valuable your information is.
I was part of Carradin's band, but when was that? I don't know where to find him. I've fallen out with the lot. Besides, he's no longer chummy with his old mates. Word around town is he's changed. Aside from me, Sleaze, Hammond, Lund, Sleaze, Hammond, Lund, went to Tretigal, Hammond to Skellige, and Lund.
Lund's dead.
Finally met his match. Well, you've only Hammond or Sleaze to talk to then.
Satisfied? She doesn't know anything. We need to talk to Hammond and Celise.
Don't go looking for Carradine. If he senses you nipping at his heels, he'll kill you without batting an eye.
We'll see. As for you... No, Lambert. Right. Better to leave her like this.
What about my coin? Arseholes.
You gotta help me, Geralt. Best thing will be to split up. You sail to Skellige. Try to squeeze something out of Hammond. I'll go to Tretigor and meet with Celise.
Lambert, let's talk about this.
No, let's not. This is one of those situations, serious situations, when you don't ask unnecessary questions and just help your friend.
Where'll we meet once I'm back?
At the Nowhere Inn.
All right, I'm off. Good luck.
Look! Why does he need two swords? Does he tend to lose them? A day like all others. Bones are aching again.
like all others. Yeah, right.
One glance tells me all I need to know about you.
Look! Look! Oh.
Damn your fate.
Tough times.
Greetings.
Wouldn't mind a look at your stock. Farewell.
Don't be foolish, course they can't. Me inside the had horns, like a deer. Wow. Where'd you see this tree?
Traveler, hello. Come sit with us.
Very sour this year.
It's because there's not been much sun.
Aye. Each winter's harsher than the next. Every spring.
The plague!
Bailiff's a harsh man. Best not cause any trouble at the inn.
until their buttons start to get sticky, or even worse, the analog stick begins to stick to one side or the other. Well, good news. Today I'm going to show you how to clean this bad boy and get you back to grinding. Step number 1, take the batteries out. As you know, these controllers can turn on the Xbox even if you're on the other side of the house. The last thing you want to do is turn those batteries out. Either will work. Pour out some rubbing alcohol into a dish. Dip the cotton into the rubbing alcohol and wring it out. Make sure that cotton's not saturated. And rub down the entire Xbox One controller. This will clean, sanitize, and degrease it. Next thing you want to do, grab you a Q-tip, dip the Q-tip into the rubbing alcohol, wring it out a little bit, make sure it's not completely saturated, and then use it to get on top of your buttons here. Wipe down all your buttons. We're going to use the toothpick to get all the guck out. Notice the... And let's... One cow. Boy, I wish...
On your Xbox, as long as it's pretty much a regular button, it should some rubbing alcohol. Pure cute around the button, that's because that's the spot where it's sticking, so you kind of want to glob it on there. And if people, so it won't get in your controller and mess up the... Gonna skip this. 49.50. Alright, off the surface, and after that you're
Someone placed an illusion here.
Captured and displayed.
Curious place for a conversation about art.
Anywhere is good for that. It's simply a matter of summoning inspiration. Vodka, for example, is a great aid.
Care to drink with us? To poetry?
Why not? I'm a bit thirsty.
And when a man is thirsty, melancholy strangles his soul. Pour, Gascoigne!
Gentlemen, I am soused, pickled, crocked, and stewed.
Want another term for your state?
Don't be vulgar. What will our new friend think? Pour another.
Fine. Last round for me, though. Vodka's gone, as are the troubadours. And my things. Damn it.
Smile fair as spring, as towards him he draws
We shan't give you up.
Hey there, sir! A witcher, right? Where? Everyone gone down.
Looks like rain.
Amateur defender.
Know what rhymes with wicked witcher? My things, before I turn you into mincemeat.
Must be a slant, right?
Shut your trap and give it back.
So then, we are square. Even good, yes?
Not quite. We'll be good once you give me your things.
All of them?
You can keep your knickers.
Captured and displayed in the sideshow of the circus. Well, it could be quite profitable.
Look. You're a fierce one. But you've fairness in your eyes.
Hide the wenches.
What's the problem?
Oh, nothing. On your way now, good man.
Shut it, Gotthard. He could help. Little Red's band means to attack the village. Want revenge on Bertram. We haven't much, but we're willing to pay if you defend us.
Who's Little Red?
Word is she fornicates with wolves and can tear a man apart with her bare mitts. A she-beast in human husk. Though some call her a great beauty.
She leads a pack of deserters, true dregs, from different armies. The kind what knows killing and plundering well.
Why's this band want revenge on you of all people?
Because I ratted on them to the witch hunters.
Witch hunters care about bandits. Since when?
Little Red's band. They was terrorizing our village. We had none to defend us. Finally, Bertram went by the hunters, asked them. So the hunters went after him. We had a spell of peace, but now Little Red's learnt of it all. Wants to kill Bertram. He's done for if you don't help.
Fine. I'll handle the bandits. Go to your homes, bar the doors.
Beware of them, Witcher. They're the dangerous type, truly.
Do you want to be my boyfriend?
I think I'm catching someone.